Imagine making a vow, a promise so dire, its fulfillment would shake your world to the core. This is the story of Jephthah. A tale from the book of Judges. Jephthah's story is one that is marked with desperation, grave choices, and profound lessons. Jephthah was a man of humble beginnings. The son of a prostitute, he was shunned by his half-brothers and cast out from his father's house. Yet, despite these harsh circumstances, Jephthah rose to become a mighty warrior. His reputation grew so vast that when his homeland, the land of Gilead, was threatened by the Ammonites, it was to him they turned for help. The Gileadites, those who had once cast him aside, now pleaded for his leadership in their hour of need. In return for his services, they promised him a place of honor, a chance to lead his people. This was an offer Jephthah couldn't refuse, but it wasn't without a deep sense of desperation, a need to secure victory at any cost, that he stepped into this role. And so, it was in this moment of profound desperation that Jephthah made his fateful pledge to the Lord. If granted victory over the Ammonites, he vowed to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house upon his triumphant return. This was no ordinary promise. It was a vow steeped in the ancient traditions, a burnt offering, a pledge of utter devotion and thanksgiving to God. The gravity of this vow was immense. It was a testament to Jephthah's desperation, his willingness to risk everything for the sake of his people. It was a pledge that would come to define his life, a promise that would lead him down a path of unthinkable sacrifice. Jephthah, a man caught between a rock and a hard place, made a fateful pledge, unaware of the dire consequences awaiting him. This is where our story begins, at the precipice of a vow that would shake one man's world to its very core. With a heavy heart and a vow hanging over his head, Jephthah marches into battle. The weight of his promise to God is as tangible as the sword in his hand, driving him forward with a determined resolve. The battlefield stretches out before him, a gruesome tableau of dust and blood, punctuated by the thunderous clash of steel. Jephthah is a man caught in the throes of a desperate struggle, not just against the enemy forces, but against his own fears. Each swing of his sword, each enemy he fells, is a step towards victory, but also a step towards the fulfillment of his ominous vow. The battle rages on, a maelstrom of chaos and violence, yet, amidst the clamor, Jephthah stands resolute, his mind filled with the echoes of his vow. He fights on, driven by the belief that his sacrifice will secure the favor of God and grant him the strength to overcome his adversaries. His vow becomes his battle cry, a haunting melody that fuels his courage and steels his resolve. It becomes the rhythm of his heart, the pulse of his every move. It is a constant reminder of the stakes at hand, the price of victory, and the cost of defeat. And in this fierce struggle, victory finally inclines towards Jephthah. His enemies falter, their ranks break, and their resolve crumbles. The battlefield, once a theater of fear and violence, now echoes with the triumphant roar of Jephthah's men. Victory, it seems, has chosen its side. But even as the cheers of his men fill his ears, a cold dread seizes Jephthah. His heart, which moments ago was ablaze with the fire of victory, now feels as cold as stone. For he knows that his victory march leads him not to the jubilation of a hero's welcome, but to the grim fulfillment of his vow. Victorious, Jephthah returns home, his joy soon to be overshadowed by the dreadful reality of his vow. As he steps over the threshold of his home, the celebration of victory dies on his lips, replaced by the chilling sound of his own vow echoing back at him. In the thrill of victory, a figure emerges from Jephthah's house, a figure that brings his world crashing down. As the dust settles from the battlefield, a joyous procession approaches Jephthah's home. The first to step out is none other than his daughter, his only child, dancing with joy and playing a tambourine. She is oblivious to the vow her father had made, believing she is celebrating a victorious return. Imagine Jephthah's heart sinking, his joy turning into unimaginable despair. His victory now tastes of ash, the world around him blurs, his breath hitches, his knees threaten to buckle. The promise he had made to God now echoes ominously in his ears. His daughter, his precious child, is the first to greet him, and, according to his vow, she is to be the sacrifice. Yet he must tell her. He shares his promise, the terrible vow he had made. The air thickens with tension, the celebration around them seems to fade into the background. His daughter, still in the bloom of youth, stares at him, her eyes wide and unbelieving. Then a remarkable thing happens. She doesn't scream, she doesn't cry, she doesn't run. Instead, she accepts her fate. She asks only for 2 months to mourn her impending death with her friends in the mountains. Can you imagine the strength it took for her to accept such a destiny, to willingly walk into the arms of death? She returns to her father, prepared for the unthinkable. In the days of the Old Testament, vows to God were unbreakable, inviolable. Jephthah, though his heart aches and his spirit is crushed, fulfills his vow. In a heart-wrenching turn of events, Jephthah fulfills his vow, sacrificing his beloved daughter. A chilling silence descends, the merriment of victory is forgotten, replaced by the echo of a father's grief and the memory of a daughter's courage. A tale of victory, sacrifice, and unimaginable loss. The ashes settle, and Jephthah is left alone with his guilt and grief. This is where we find ourselves now, in the aftermath of a vow fulfilled in the most tragic of ways. Jephthah, a man once celebrated as a victorious leader, is now a shell of his former self. His victory in battle, which should have been a time of great joy and celebration, is overshadowed by a sorrow so deep it threatens to consume him whole. His heart is heavy with regret, his spirit shattered by the unbearable weight of his loss. His daughter, his only child, the light of his life, is gone, sacrificed on the altar of a promise made in haste. He had expected livestock to greet him upon his return, not his beloved child. The memory of her joyful face, rushing out to welcome him home, haunts his every waking moment. His nights are plagued with nightmares, the flames of the sacrificial fire dancing in his dreams. His community too is left reeling. The excitement of their victory in battle quickly gives way to shock and grief. Their leader, their hero, is now a man broken by his own actions. The people are left questioning the cost of their victory. Was it worth the life of an innocent child? The repercussions of Jephthah's action are far-reaching. His vow, made in a moment of desperation, has changed the course of his life and the lives of those around him. His name, once synonymous with victory, is now a reminder of a devastating loss. His story, once a tale of triumph, is now a tragic saga of sacrifice and regret. The aftermath of Jephthah's vow is a bleak landscape, marked by a profound sense of sorrow and loss, a community in mourning, a leader in despair, a father in agony. The echoes of a promise made and a vow fulfilled reverberate through the silence, serving as a chilling reminder of the consequences of hasty decisions. A victorious leader, now a grieving father, Jephthah's story serves as a stark reminder of the power of vows and the repercussions of hasty promises. Jephthah's story, while tragic, holds a potent lesson for us all. His tale, steeped in sorrow and regret, offers us a chance to reflect on the weight of our words and the consequences of our decisions. It underscores a theme that is timeless and universal: the importance of responsibility. Responsibility is not just about fulfilling our duties or obligations, it's about understanding that our actions, our words, have consequences, sometimes far-reaching and irreversible. Jephthah's vow was spoken in a moment of desperation, but it held a lifetime of repercussions. This brings us to our next theme: the power of words. Words are powerful. They can inspire, encourage, and uplift, but they can also bind, wound, and destroy. Jephthah's vow is a stark reminder of this. His words, once spoken, could not be taken back. They bound him to a course of action that led to unthinkable loss. His story teaches us to be mindful of our words, to understand their potential impact before we let them loose into the world. Finally, we come to the theme of careful decision-making. Jephthah's decision to make a rash vow shows the danger of acting impulsively, without considering the potential consequences. It reminds us that our decisions can have far-reaching effects, not just on our own lives, but on the lives of those around us. We must learn to consider the potential outcomes of our choices, to weigh the pros and cons, and to make decisions that are thoughtful, informed, and wise. This is not always easy. It requires patience, foresight, and courage. But as Jephthah's story shows, the cost of neglecting this process can be devastatingly high. In the end, Jephthah's story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us to weigh our words and decisions carefully. It teaches us that we hold the power to shape our destiny and the destiny of those around us, and that with this power comes a weighty responsibility. Jephthah's story, etched in the annals of time, continues to resonate with us even today. Here we have a man, a leader, who in his quest for victory makes a vow to God, pledging to sacrifice the first thing that greets him upon his triumphant return. A vow which, in a heartbreaking twist of fate, claims the life of his beloved daughter. This narrative, woven into the rich tapestry of the Bible, is not just a tale of a tragic vow, but is a poignant reminder of the power of our words and commitments. It encourages us to reflect on the gravity of our promises and the potential consequences they may bear. It's a stark lesson that our words, once spoken, are irrevocable. It underscores the importance of discernment before making commitments, especially those involving others. But let's not forget, Jephthah's story is also a testament to faith and obedience. Despite the unbearable cost, Jephthah honors his promise to God, demonstrating unwavering loyalty and obedience even in the face of unimaginable grief. So what does this tale speak to you? Is it a cautionary tale about the weight of our words and promises, or is it a narrative of faith and obedience that inspires you? Perhaps it's both. The beauty of these biblical stories lies in their multifaceted nature, offering us different perspectives, lessons, and reflections. We invite you to delve deeper into these narratives, to uncover their layers, to engage with their messages, and to apply their wisdom in your life. Let these stories guide you, challenge you, and inspire you. If you found this story enlightening, give us a thumbs up and share this video. Engage in the comments below with your thoughts and reflections. We'd love to hear your perspective. Become a part of our journey in exploring these timeless tales. Join our family by subscribing to our channel. Together, let's uncover the wisdom embedded in these ancient narratives. May God bless you in all your endeavors. Thank you for watching.